Well, hi, kids. Are you ready to have the talk? Imagine you're laying in bed at night. You hear the voice of a girl. You realize that you've never slept in what basically amounts to the same house as a member of the opposite sex before. It's something new to you. It's kind of odd. But you accept this new fact about college and you go to sleep. The next morning, though, you walk down the hallway and you see her. She's unlocking her door. And you realize, we're just two young people. I should be able to talk to her. But you suddenly get a lump in your throat. You wonder, what should I say? So you just blurt out, "Hey!" And then in the intervening few seconds, as you congratulate yourself for being a masterful greeter, you realize awkward silence is built. And you can't think of anything to say. Your heart starts pounding like a racehorse. And then it pops into your head. The classic checklist. Major, classification, where she's from, shoe size, social security number. It's going great. You're really hitting it off. It's going so good, in fact, she wants to see you again. First time that's happened. Fast forward a few weeks and it's been going great. You two are really hitting it off. You're actually about to go out that night. And when you come back from that amazing date, you drop off at her dorm room. You walk her to her door and you're about to say goodbye with a sweet farewell kiss. But something different happens. She has you by the collar. She's dragging you backward. Oh, good lordy, what's happening? And suddenly, it pops into your head. It's the big one, all right. Are you ready? Should you be ready? What will you do? If you couldn't tell by that amazingly written story, we're going to talk about intimacy today. Whether or not you should partake, and if you do partake, how you should do it. So, before we delve into our personal opinions, which we have a lot of, let's hit you with some big stats. If you're a man, you're more likely to have an unhappy marriage if you have more than one sexual partner. I'm not saying you're guaranteed to have an unhappy marriage, you're just decreasing your chances of having a happy one, according to survey data at least. Your chances drop from about 65% to around about 52 to 54%. So that's a significant drop. If you're a woman, less so. Y'all can apparently just have sex without feeling too bad about it. Just kidding. Just have a less statistical effect. And this might be to a multitude of factors, like men who have more sex might see more options in the world and be less satisfied in their marriage, whereas women find more satisfaction despite having previous experience. Whatever it may be, we are not completely sure. But that's the raw stat of it. Now, something that you probably can guess, and it's a very direct correlation, is the fact that if you have more sex, you're more likely to come back with an STD. You do the dirty, you're more likely to end up with the dirt. If you have 5 or more sexual partners, you have an 8 times risk to end up with an STD. And like I said, you stick it in the butter hole, you're more likely to leave with some butter. Do with that as you will. Now, one that you might not have realized, but it kind of makes sense if you think about it. depending on which direction you want to go, is that if you have more sex, you're likely to have a substance abuse problem. Now, this can go one of two ways. Either because you're already an impulsive person who does impulsive things, like substance abuse, downing bottles of vodka, smoking packs of cigarettes a day, just on a whim, you're more likely just to see someone walking by like, "Oi! You want to do it?"
Let me get in your pants.
Yeah. Why is my lecherous person Scottish and hers is... I don't know what that was.
I don't know what that was. I just said it.
We're not making any cultural statements. Just trying to be funny.
And to clarify, this is a random woman, not someone that you've been in a relationship for 10 years and you do the dirty whenever you feel like it. This is a different
And then it's not
step.
doing the dirty. It's making the love. It's sweet. In any case, you're just more likely an impulsive person, likely to do impulsive things. Or it may be that once you start getting more accustomed to doing, well, having more sex and being more impulsive with sex, you're more accustomed to doing other impulsive things, like drinking more. It's like, you know what, I've already just had all the sex and the things, I might as well just drink my sorrows away. Who knows?
Drink them STDs away.
Yeah, I can't feel the pain of the herpes if I can't feel anything. So, whichever way that goes, that is a correlation that's out there too. Now, say you do decide to do it. How can you do so safely?
Yes. So if you do it, please do not do the nasty, ineffective methods. Don't double up on condoms, you guys. I don't know why you would. It doesn't add extra protection. In fact, it's just going to rip due to friction. Just don't do it, all right? Also, do not just go in there without anything and pull it out when you think it's coming. Please. No, the pull-out game is not what you want.
That's coming with an O.
Just don't do it. But if you want it to be effective, if you do the deed anyway, go with the effective methods of birth control, IUDs, condoms. Like I mentioned earlier, do not double up on the condoms. If you double up, have your girl on birth control if she's willing, and then you wear a condom as well.
And then there's good old abstinence, which means, just not doing it.
Refusing, saving it for later.
Like, you know what? I don't want to take a chance.
I don't want it.
I'm not going to walk on the border. I'm just not going to come close to it. So, that's always an option. No, it's the less popular one for people in college.
Say
but
no.
It's there.
Say no.
Do with that information what you will. Now, the next segment is going to be our personal opinions on intimacy and having sex in general in college. And for that, we're going to have a special guest. We're going to have our editor-in-chief, Symiah Dorsey. Now we'd like to welcome our editor-in-chief, Symiah Dorsey. Symiah, she's amazing. Look at that hair. Oh my
Stop
God.
it, please.
Guys, you're too much. You're putting her on the spot. Please stop.
Okay,
Now,
what's up?
oh no, it's going good. You doing good, Symiah?
I'm doing alright. I really can't complain. How are you guys?
We're good.
Good,
Okay.
good. It's been a fun podcast talking about some, nice
Heated
non-controversial things.
Not
Oh,
at
yeah.
all.
Not heated, except in the steamy way.
I'm done.
Stevie make fun time.
Oh, yes. And speaking of steamy fun time, it's time for our personal opinions on said subject.
Okay.
No. We've given you guys the stats, and we've asked you to do with that as you will, but now we're going to explore our own personal opinions on it. And me being the one who likes to talk his head off, I will begin. Now, when it comes to intimacy, the highest level of intimacy you are ready to do is extremely important. If you and your significant other have decided, for example, that you are going to wait till marriage before you're going to sleep together, kissing is the highest thing that you can give anyone. Or you aren't in a relationship yet, but you have decided that you're going to wait till marriage before you're going to have sex. Kissing is the highest thing you can give anyone. So it's something that should be given out sparingly. That forms a connection with someone. And it's being the highest thing you can give anyone. It has a certain worth to it. And out of pure principle and self-discipline, it shouldn't be something that's just freely given away. Now, if you are open to sleeping with people before marriage, then that is the highest level of intimacy. It's something which is extremely vulnerable, and you're opening yourself up to someone in a way that you probably don't do in any other way. It is probably one of, if not the most vulnerable, it is one of the most vulnerable ways you can be in front of another person. And that should be dealt with carefully. And intimacy is biologically, it has a biological effect on people.
It does, for sure.
It forms bonds between people. Your brain is releasing hormones during sexual intercourse. Man, I sound so scientific.
It's like a hydrogen bond versus covalent.
Oh my god. I feel like a covalent bond from how much we're bonding right now. Great.
It's definitely something that has an immense effect on your mind, and for those who believe in it, on your soul. And to do that with multiple people, you are spreading that thin, and you are confusing your mind, because it is building bonds with everyone that you have that level of intimacy with. And if it is not at least with a small group of people, if it's not done with at least one, it should preferably be with a small group of people, because once that becomes too large a count, you're just confusing yourself and you're hurting yourself, in my opinion, obviously, being that this is my opinion. Thus, in essence, intimacy is something, any level of intimacy that you're ready for, is something that should be given out sparingly, and only to people that deserve it and you have a certain level of trust with and a certain relationship with.
Yes, sir. Snaps for that.
Absolutely. Okay.
Thank you.
Well, I have to say, I really agree with that. I just believe what Philip said, that you should be very careful and very selective with who you give your body to. Just the same way that everyone does not deserve your time, not everyone deserves your body either. I think that's something that's very valuable. And some people, say that choosing to wait till marriage is such a huge commitment and that they could never do it. But personally, I believe that choosing, the act of sleeping with somebody is equally as big of a commitment that should not be taken lightly. Just think about it. Would you really want to co-parent with somebody that you barely like for the rest of your life? That's my worst nightmare. I would hate doing that.
Yeah, you have to learn to not only first you have to learn to get along with, but have a positive relationship with someone that you don't
Right.
really...
Or you could just throw them on the street.
You
Get them
could,
out the picture.
but then, your kid might be wondering where their dad or mom is.
He never came back to get the milk.
Yeah, he never came back from going to the store and getting the milk. So I really encourage people to think about that more often. Is it really worth, 30 seconds to a couple hours of fun just so that you can, just have that one fleeting experience and then have such a long-lasting repercussion from it? I think that's something people really need to take more seriously. It really is a huge commitment, and I know there's a lot of empowerment right now behind sexual liberation, but I really hope people feel equally empowered to just be more reserved with themselves and who they choose to pour their energy to, regardless of whether it's a religious virtue for you or just personal. I think everyone can benefit from just being very selective and very careful with who they develop or pour so much energy into.
True that.
Yeah.
More snaps.
More snaps.
Just piggybacking off of what they said, I definitely agree with both of them. Do not give out yourself to people who don't deserve you. That goes for relationships too. Don't give out your body. Don't give out your time. If they're not worth it, if you don't see a life with them, then you shouldn't do anything with them. You shouldn't want to bring them. If you're not comfortable being around them for the rest of your life, then you shouldn't want to bring a kid into that environment. So just don't do it. Make sure he's the right one or she's the right one. You know, save yourself for that person, because if you waste it, you can't go back. It's done.
You can move on, but it's always still that thing.
It's always that thing.
Yeah.
I think it's like anything in life. Even just because you have the ability to do it and the access to do it, does not
Doesn't
mean
mean
you
you
should
should.
overdo it.
Yeah.
Just because you have the access to drink after you're 21 does not mean you should like drink every day and
Right.
you know, do it until you're in a coma. It's something that should be used responsibly because it has a long-lasting effect on you.
True
It
that.
definitely does. Everything in moderation.
Everything. Now, if you
Everything.
do mess up and you do the deed and you have the baby, my personal advice, don't stay with the dude or the girl who's toxic for your kid.
Yeah.
As a child who was raised by a single mother, it's not worth it to, like, if I were to be raised with my dad, it would have been toxic. It would have been hard on me. It would have been hard on my brothers. And that's just not worth your time. It's not healthy for anybody. So if you do it, literally, and you don't want that person in your life, you don't think that's a good fit for yourself or your child, please find help elsewhere. Literally, there are so many places that will help small families. Just don't stick with the man. If you do the deed, that's fine. If you have the baby, that's fine. Just don't let him stay if he's not it.
Yes.
If he's
do
not
not
the
feel
one.
obligated to do that.
Never. Well, that's all I've got.
Yeah, thank you, Symiah. I appreciate you for
No
coming.
Yes,
problem. I'm
thanks,
never on
Symiah.
podcasts anymore. This is fun.
Yeah, I think, in general, I hope you guys take this information, and if you do decide to do it, just be wise about it.
Keep your treasure goods for yourself.
Yeah, it's definitely an important thing, and it shouldn't be taken lightly. So just be careful with it, and be safe out there. And, you know, if you are practicing it currently, and after it you find yourself and you're like, man, I'm hungry, stop over at Papa John's.
Yeah.
And get you some pizza. It's gonna replenish all that energy. It
Literally
has
what I
the
was
cheese.
thinking.
I was thinking the same thing. You took the words right out of my mouth.
Yeah,
Straight out.
everybody knows. After sex, all you want is
To replace
some
those
pizza.
words that I lost, I need to go eat some Papa John's pizza.
Oh man.
Yeah. Stop over at the Papa John's, and then if you're just relaxing because y'all tuck it out, you can just scroll through social media and go look at the Lions Roar on Instagram.
Absolutely.
Or
Or
TikTok.
Or TikTok.
We're on TikTok now.
Yes.
Thank you very much, guys. We appreciate you for listening today and for bearing with us. Have a nice night or
Thank
day
you guys.
Bye, y'all.
or afternoon.